All right, all right. Happy morning. Good morning, everybody. Thank you so much for tuning in to another one from LearnBiz The Podcast. I'm gonna give a moment for this thing to kind of spread into the atmosphere. Good morning, Lisa. How you doing today?
I'm doing fine, Miss Sandy B. I'm doing fine. I'm glad to be back in. Oh boy, my phone is acting up already. I'm glad to be back in action with you on a Tuesday morning.
All right. So, I mean, as we can see, when Lisa's phone gives us that little notification, it tells us we back at it again. So, guys, thank you so much for tuning in to another episode of Learn Biz the Podcast. We are broadcasting live from our YouTube channel at Learn Biz the Podcast, and we're also broadcasting to our LinkedIn and our Facebook pages. So please be sure to click like and click share on this video. And don't forget to click the subscribe button and that notification bell so that the next time we go live, you'll be able to catch us. Now, today is going to be very much a jam-packed episode. We have a lot of little things to share with you guys. We've been out of commission for a few weeks. We probably should talk about that a little bit. Just been out of the loop and dealing with a lot of life issues.
It's called regrouping. That probably should be the term of the day. Regrouping on some level.
Regrouping is the absolute term of the day. I mean, sometimes life really takes hold, and I see it a lot when I look at a lot of other YouTubers or folks that are on social media. They'll have like a little hiatus for a couple of days, and it's like, where's so and so been? So we here, we ain't going nowhere.
Yes, we're still here with you. Thank you guys for definitely supporting us so far, and we intend to make our experience better on Learn Biz.
So, just want to make sure that you are tapped in. So please be sure if you're watching the replay of this video that you let us know that you were here. Just say what's up. Tell us where you're chatting from, and just a couple of things before we get going. So, first of all, we've been talking about this journaling process for quite some time, and Lisa and I have been at it, not at it, writing, not writing, catching up on time, back back at it again. So,
Wait,
the
one question, Sandy. Why does this book make you feel guilty at times?
Oh no, no,
I,
makes me feel guilty all the time. Because it ain't even at times. It makes me feel guilty all the
I
time
call it a
because
book, but it's a journal. But
let me tell you
still.
something. I got some blank pages in this book right now that are like, what up? Like you can go back to the calendar and look and see what you were doing on that day and give me some words. So that's what I'm actually doing right now because I had a whole patch of March that was just like clearly this is not getting done. Just a whole patch. And now I'm looking at April. I'm like, oh, okay, we've missed a couple of days in April too. So now I'm on overdrive right now trying to get caught up because the pages make me feel guilty.
Well, I think for me, what it is about the journal is that we call it a daily touch, but
Yes.
sometimes that daily touch goes into a 3 day touch for me, or or every 2 day touch. But I'm there. I'm always back with it. And that's the thing, once you get used to it, you miss it. You're like, wait a minute, I got a journal. I got a journal.
But you know why that is though, right? When we
What?
started journaling, we were in it, right? But then you have that day that you miss and you're not missing it all the time because you just missed it. You're missing it because you feel like, man, I really didn't do nothing today. And so it's like you feel weird about trying to write in it, but the reality of it is you should write in it and write
Yeah.
what you're feeling. And so I've found myself like catching up with that thought and saying, okay, all right, I didn't get anything done today, but what is the source of that? Like, why didn't I get anything done?
Mm-hmm.
And so instead of leaving those pages blank because I feel like I didn't accomplish anything, I write down the feeling that I'm having.
I like
Um,
that. I
and
like
that's the
that.
difference maker because if you can remind yourself of that feeling, you might be able to see some patterns and trends of why you're coming to that and why you're having days where you feel like, man, I didn't really do a touch. But sometimes
Mm.
the thing is, sometimes we do have a touch, but we don't recognize it as a touch. We don't see things that are outside of the box that could be directly tied to our business growth and development and changes. So those things I would advise folks tap in. That's when you really, really need to tap in, when you feel like you have nothing to put into place.
Yeah, because we are all the pieces of us. You know what I mean? Like the
Facts.
good days, the bad days, the days when you feel itty bitty. I mean, you're gonna have days like that.
Yeah. And so when you have those days, journaling definitely helps you recognize some of the things that you're experiencing in your mindset, some of the things that you're experiencing in your physical environment. But I'll leave it at that. I don't want to go too far because we're already at the 5 minute mark and want to make sure that we get in this content. Um, but let's talk a little bit about
Hey,
us.
I like you being a time captain. That's great. I like that about you.
I'm trying, child. I'm trying to get us to a point. So today, our title is Back in Action, and I'm going to tell y'all something. We run from the AI, but guess what? I got this title from some AI today. I wrote
Huh?
down some. I wrote down some thoughts today because I was like, what are some words that I can use instead of guess who's back or whatever? And it was like back in action. I was like, okay, back in action.
Oh my goodness.
BIA. So back in action, we're talking some updates. We're talking upcoming events. LearnBiz the podcast has done a lot of different things. Like we've pivoted quite a few times over the last couple of years, and I think one of the main consistencies in our whole thing is we've had conversations about some real things and really tried to target some things that we know as business owners, as entrepreneurs, that are very important. And so I like some of the things that we're going to be doing coming up. So I'm going to throw it to you first, Lisa, because you're kind of the mastermind of this first thing that we're going to talk about, which is our new show preview, which is going to be featured here on Learn Biz the podcast, but is also going to lead us to a new channel, Two Lawyers Talk Legacy, as well.
Absolutely. So, Two Lawyers Talk Legacy is a new show coming up in just about a week that will be a sponsored show on Learn Biz, the podcast. So, we'll run this show on Learn Biz, and you can. Should we also? Is it just one link that we're using, Learn Biz, the podcast, or at Two Lawyers Talk Legacy as well?
Both. We'll be streaming to both.
Okay, so we'll be streaming to both. But the point is that we have a new show, and I think we have the graphic for that. Can we pull that up, Sandy?
Two Lawyers Talk Legacy.
Bam, like bam, here you go. So, we'll be talking about probate and guardianship, heir property, wills and trusts. And these are practice areas that Sandy and I deal with every single working day. And we work full time. So, we're going to talk about what we're good at, what we deal with. But the way Sandy and I talk, we like to keep it real. We like to talk about these issues the way everyday citizens deal with them, and bring you the behind the scenes. When you say, oh, we're talking about probate and guardianship, well, it may sound real pretty and legal ease, but behind the scenes there's a lot of stuff that goes on in people's lives dealing with probate and guardianship, dealing with heir property. And we're going to teach people how to protect themselves through estate planning with things like wills and trusts. So it's going to be a great show. It's not going to be some boring show that lawyers do. Forget about that, because you guys, if you know us already here on Learn Biz the podcast, we keep it real, but we're going to definitely talk about those things that are germane to all of us, whether we realize it or not.
And so just remember that this is going to be one of those types of shows where you have the opportunity to pose your questions. So ask us, share your questions with us. You could always email us at learnbizllc@gmail.com. You can DM us on Instagram or Facebook or TikTok at B is for BIZ. But you can also join us live at 10 a.m. on Wednesdays to share your questions and thoughts and ideas, and definitely take advantage of this opportunity. There are a lot of lawyers in the YouTube space, but I think many of the lawyers are doing certain types of topics. I think this is going to be very unique, in that we're going to be sharing things that we all are going to have to deal with at one point. And just to tie to the conversation about entrepreneurship, a healthy entrepreneur has all of their affairs in order. So we're not just talking about having those business strategies and marketing strategies and ability to drive traffic to your business. We're talking about, are you complete in your wills, in your trusts, in your power of attorney documents? Are you complete in making sure that your extended family has dealt with whatever property that they have? Are you complete in understanding what probate and guardianship look like for real?
Oh
Not
yeah,
the fantasy stuff, right? For real, like what that stuff really looks like. So hopefully,
absolutely.
hopefully you are taking advantage of the opportunity by clicking subscribe, clicking
Yeah.
the notification bell, and stay tuned for us on Wednesdays at 10 a.m. Eastern Standard Time here on LearnBiz the Podcast, but also on our new channel at Two Lawyers Talk Legacy.
Yes. Looking forward to that.
All right. So the next thing that's on our agenda is to talk about our upcoming in-person event. And I know that we'll probably make some arrangements to record this content as well, and share some behind the scenes for you guys on that day as well. But building a scalable and sustainable business is taking place on May 3rd, 2023 from 5:30 to 7:30 at Total Wine in Plantation, Florida. So for our Florida folks in Miami-Dade, Broward, and Palm Beach County, this is a great after work networking and educational event. And we have some phenomenal speakers. I'll let you introduce our
Phenomenal is the word of the day, the second word of the day.
I'll let you introduce our speakers, Lisa, because you do so well with that.
Absolutely. When Sandy says phenomenal, she means phenomenal, and so do I. We have Seth Monroe of First Republic Bank and Nathaniel Crawford of Black Luxury Miami, Michelle White Talbert of Her Power Space, and Cynthia Alexander of Senna Notary. These entrepreneurs have trailblazed in their areas, and they're going to bring that information to you about building a scalable and sustainable business, because we need all the component parts. So we try to put that together with you with this dynamic lineup.
And the beauty of this lineup is you have somebody coming from the side of to small businesses like a Seth Monroe, who's going to give you that personal and business banking background. You have Nathaniel Crawford, who has tapped into the not just luxury real estate market, but the Black luxury real estate market down here in South Florida. Michelle Y. Talbert has done quite a bit with Her Power Space and Her Power Moves. And she's basically created a movement for small business owners and spaces for them to tap in to their business and entrepreneurship roles. And Senna Notary is just a wealth of resources. We had her on the podcast before. We've had Michelle White Talbert on the podcast. We've had Nathaniel Crawford on the podcast. I think the only person missing that hasn't had an episode is Seth, and we'll talk to him about that. But
Oh, yeah.
this panel is going to really tap in and give us some information on financing for your business, investing in real estate, choosing the right business location, and the value of these co-working and virtual workspaces, and talking about obtaining certifications for your business and how you can really tap into different realms in whatever lane that you're in. And I think Senna Notary does that really well, as well as
Oh,
Michelle Talbert.
absolutely.
So, guys, this is going to really be really a great one, and we're definitely committed to making sure that you get at least some inside scoop on what was going on at this event. So we'll try to make sure we do some live streaming on that day, and share some stuff here on the YouTube channel. So, before we wrap up, because it's already the 13-minute mark, and we're going to try to keep this real short so you can watch it and
Oh,
watch it again.
I love your time whip. It's so great. Let's keep going.
So again, today we're talking about being back in action, some updates, upcoming events. May is Small Business Month. So we decided to make sure to tap into all of the different things that entrepreneurs need to have a thriving business, to be able to understand some of the resources that are out in the community. So throughout the month of May, we're going to be doing some different activities to really get you pumped up about your business and learn as much as you can about how you can make your business better.
Yeah.
But one of the things is recognizing that sometimes you have to make some adjustments and slight shifts in how you're operating. So We're going to be doing some different things with the podcast, and you'll start to see some offshoots of what we're working on. So, Lisa, I want to talk a little bit about our guest on May the 5th, because we just talked about the May 3rd event, which is the kickoff to
Yep.
Small Business Month. But tell us a little bit about the next one.
Yeah, so on May 5th, Cinco de Mayo, on that day at 11:30, we are going to have a special guest, Mr. David Wright. I unfortunately I may not have that graphic up, but we will put that out there on Instagram and on all of our social media, so you'll be able to see a picture of Mr. David Wright of Mutual of Omaha, and we will be talking about how to protect your hard earned business and transferring the risk. So, we're going to get into those topics and deal with those things as they pertain to basically building and protecting your legacy. So, we've had him on as a guest before, but now we have him for a special feature presentation, if you will, on Friday, May 5th at 11:30 on Two Lawyers Talk Legacy and on LearnBiz The Podcast.
Absolutely. So, guys, this has been great. We're going to make this short and sweet, and we hope that you are able to tap in with us on some of these different things that we have coming up. Again, always a reminder, tune in. Make sure that you have your Learn Biz Entrepreneur Journal, a daily touch, which you can find now on Amazon. The link and information is in the description. And also keep in mind that not only are we doing this journaling process, but we're also spending some time doing a journaling group. Now, we've had a couple of sessions, so we're going to have to be scheduling our next one coming up. But I wanted just to draw your attention to this because we had a session back on March 27th. So if you missed it, don't hesitate to send us a message and we'll make sure you get the link, because this is a private link to the journaling group. But stay tuned for our next journaling episode. And please don't forget to get yourself a copy of our journal, which, if you attend our event on May the 5th, on May the 3rd in person at Total Wine and Plantation, we will have journals in hand. So don't miss out on that, guys.
Yes, definitely. Looking forward to seeing you on May 3rd.
Absolutely. Have a good one, guys. Thank you for tuning in on today's episode.